any business where the raw material passes at 3 different or 4 different levels, then they require process cost. What is the total cost has been incurred in the process of conversion or in the process of rendering services to the customer or the people. The actual performance, we are going to identify what is the cost has been incurred. That's why it is called historical. Warm welcome to second sem BCom student. The subject we're discussing, fundamentals of cost accounting, unit 1, introduction. In our previous session, we have discussed about the meaning of cost, cost accounting, cost accountancy, and its objectives and importance. In today's session, we're going to discuss about the scope of cost accounting, how it supports the management, and where it can control the things to avoid unnecessary losses in the business, and how to make best use of the resources available in the organization. I'm Professor Rajesh L.R. from Department of Commerce and Management from Vidhyaashram, First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. The concept what we have here, the scope of cost accounting, how the cost can be ascertained and how we can control the cost and how it gets support to the management. These concepts we are going to discuss, and even we are going to discuss certain classification of cost in today's session. In upcoming sessions, we are going to discuss the remaining classification part here. Now, first we have here scope of cost accounting. So based on certain things, it has been certain concepts here: cost ascertainment, control of cost, proper matching of cost with revenue, aids to management for decision making. If I want to take decision, so then the management should have proper information at the time of process of conversion of raw material into finished goods. First, cost ascertainment. The main function of cost accounting is to ascertain of cost of product or services rendered. So, for costing, the main function is to identify what is the total cost has been incurred in the process of conversion or in the process of rendering services to the customer or the people. So now, the main function is to ascertain each and every level from all the angles, pie to pie, money or money's worth information. So then only the management can take a proper decision about the manufacturing or buy or to have the assembling of the goods or think about other concepts instead of sustaining losses in the future. It includes collection, analysis, measurement, production at different stages of manufacture. They're saying that one, it collects information in such a way that one, what is the amount has been incurred in the direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. This is my first level, which is called prime cost. So this is called prime cost, where the actual amount of expenditure or amount incurred in the process of conversion directly. Indirectly, we have here factory cost, office cost, administration cost, selling cost, distribution cost. If I add all these things, it will be for me total cost. So now, collecting from each level from the process here and then measuring that one at different stages, measuring at each stage here and then taking the decision about the process. The collection, analysis and measurement requires different methods of costing for different types of production, such as historical cost, standard cost, process cost, operation cost. Depending upon the business what we are doing, so based on that, the analysis or collection of data, it depends on which type of cost can be used in particular business sector. For example, for any transport industries, they require operation cost. For any business where the raw material passes at 3 different or 4 different levels, then they require process cost. Like this, we have different costs are there which can be used by the business person in their business sector to take a proper decisions. It can be done in 2 ways, namely post costing and continuous costing. Post costing, where ascertainment of cost is done based on the actual information recorded in the financial books. They're saying that when whatever the information you people have recorded in the financial aspects, that will be considered as the cost incurred for the process of conversion into finished goods. Now, while recording any information in the books of accounts under financial accounts, with the supporting document, it will be recorded. That's why it is called actual information. So, actual information will be recorded. And next, continuous costing, where the process of ascertainment is of a continuous nature, where cost information is available as and when. Means continuous cost is nothing but as and when you're going to purchase something or incur some cost here, that will be recorded. So either you can apply post costing or continuous costing based on your process of work or the nature of business and nature of work, what you're doing, and even you can think in such a way that which is required for your business purpose. Controlling of cost. In the era of competition, I should control in such a way the cost here, so it should not spoil the environment, and it should not make me to sustain certain losses here if I don't control the cost here. Like the cost, whatever I've incurred based on the information collected from the market. So on that basis, if I incur cost, and if the price of the commodity is increased here, so product cannot be sold in the market. Who will buy that product? My target, middle class people. So then middle class income group people, when we have a thought in our mind, which type of group of target people are there or consumers for my product here, so then the price should be fixed according to their based income or taste and preferences, whatever they have here. So if without considering all these factors, if I think in a different way, the product will be available in the market, but the number of consumers who are going to consume your product will be very less when compared to the estimation what you made before starting any business here. So for that reason, to control, to have a better competition and to sustain in the market for long period, think in such a way that how the cost can be controlled, where I can control. So what are the steps are there to control here? Why the control should be made in the process of conversion? Simply for unnecessarily some of the expenditure will be incurred either in the production department or in the stores department, which was not necessary to be incurred. So avoid that cost. So the price of the commodity will come down here. So think that one, under which category or in which department or in which level of stages you can control the cost, how much ever it is possible, control that one. Use the resources from all the angles where you can control the cost easily. If you're not utilizing the resources, available resources in the business with the optimum concept here, so then you're going to lose something, or you may not get the thought what you had, this is the return on investment for me in my mind, that cannot be achieved here. So if you want to achieve something, think in such a way that how the cost can be controlled. To sustain, it is essential to examine each individual item of cost. Already I said that one. If I want to sustain in the market at each and every level, I have to check that one. What type of cost has been incurred here? So whether this expenditure is required in this level or whether it is required for this particular department or center. So think that one, then you decide. This requires planning and use of standard of each item of cost for locating deviations, if any, taking remedial measures. If you want to take and if you want to control, do one thing for all the levels. Like for example, I've taken here direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. For each you fix standard cost. Like for example, think here 100, 80 and 60. This is the based on the market strategies, fix some standards, taking into consideration all the things from the low level to high level. Then you decide, then fix the things with the quantitative. Okay, I'm not discussing qualitative. Quantity, in the terms of quantitative, you fix the standards. So now you have fixed that the direct material, it should be 100. Actually, it has become 105, 75 and 40. Now, direct material, the standard what you fixed 100, but it has become 105. So now, there is a difference of 5 rupees here. You just check that one. Why the 5 rupees has been increased in the decision making, where we have done decision wrong, or why the 5 rupees was increased. Either it may be in sudden increase in the petrol prices, or sudden increase in the transportation cost, or something it may be. For that reason, 5 rupees are increased, which is not in my controllability. The external factors are not in the hands of the business people to control that one. So at least we can control internal factors. External factors will be fluctuating every day. So for that reason, check that one. Now, your standard fixed was for labor was 80, but it has become 75. So there is a favorable. So 5 rupees is reduced. It's okay. You thought that when the expenses may be 60, here it is 40. That's good. So means you're controlling the cost at each level, which is not even coming up to the standard what you fix it. If it crosses your standards, then check, analyze that, measure, identify where we have taken a wrong step. Means whether I've taken a wrong step in the payment of bonus, whether I've taken a wrong step in the calculation of the bonus rates. So think that one. Then you decide for making the payment here. Like assume that my direct labor is 100 here, but this is a standard. So actual performance direct labor is 150. See, you thought that when the labor, what I'm going to pay for this process, it is only 100, but it is 150, 50 rupees. So for 1 unit, it is 50 means, assume that if you are going to produce 10,000 units into 50, it will be 5 lakhs. So think that one, why this 50 rupees has been increased in the cost of labor, why it was happened. Without thinking, you have paid the bonus. Without analyzing the situation, you have paid the bonus. Or the steps what you've taken in ascertaining the labor was not perfect at the time of actual performance. So control that one. How many hours the laborer has worked? How many hours there was idle time? And how many number of units he has produced? So checking all the things into consideration, then you decide whether this is perfect or not. Next we have here proper matching of cost with revenue. So check that each and every level. In this level, my cost is 10 rupees. I'm earning 15. Okay, very good. My cost is 20. I'm earning 18. Means this is not okay. Means there is a loss of 2 rupees is there. So you just think that one, why this loss is there in the process of identification. And next, aids to management decision here. At the time of deciding, the process of choosing between 2 or more alternatives based on the resultant outcome of the various alternatives, think in such a way that one, which method is good for me and why it is good. Some of the people in the stores department, we have different methods to follow. Issue the stock here and maintain the stock here. The methods here, we have first in, first out, last in, first out, SAM, simple average method, weighted average method, base stock method, highest in, first out, economic order quantity, activity based costing, See, different levels, different concepts we have here. In this one, which is better for you? Think. And then based on that, you decide which method is suitable for my business and where I can reduce certain things. 90% if we adopt last in, first out concept, so we'll be in the actual level of earning profit as per the markets. So why it is required, like LIFO is better. Whatever the stock you purchase it, the last items, based on that, if you do the production, the cost what you're going to get from the market, so you can match that one easily. Or else if it is FIFO method, the stock which we have received in the first, that has been issued. See, earlier the stock rate was 10 and now it is 12. So now based on 10 rupees, if you produce the products, so your cost price will be difference of 2 rupees here. So now instead of 98, you're selling at 100. So you thought that one, I'm getting 2 rupees extra benefit. No, you lost 2 rupees here. That is matching here. For that reason, think that one, which method is better, and then decide. Now, classification of cost. It is a very important question. Briefly explain the classification of cost will be there. So in today's session, we are going to take certain concepts will be discussed in today's session, and in the upcoming session, we're going to have in-depth of all different costs, whatever the classified. So now we have made in such a way to understand here, based on the time, we have here historical cost and we have predetermined. Under predetermined, estimate cost and standard cost. So what is historical cost? Historical cost is a cost after the actual performance. We are going to identify what is the cost has been incurred. That's why it is called historical. Means after completion of all the process here, they record the information from the beginning. So that means from the past to the present, they record the information here. That's why it's called historical. What is predetermined? Before the actual performance, you decide that this is the cost it may incur. Means you are going to fix certain standard for that one. You may fix that one, it may be 150. Later, if it came at 180. So there is a difference minus 30 here. So why this 30 has been increased here? Means the difference what we have here, I have written a decrease. Why means it is a negative concept here. 30 rupees profit has been reduced from here. So for that reason, why it happened and where we have done a wrong thing. So those things can be identified easily with the support of predetermined cost if you have applied in your business. Next, we have by nature or elements, we have material, labor and overheads. Under that, direct, indirect, direct, indirect and overhead, direct and indirect. So next we have here under indirect overhead, production, office, selling and distribution. These are the indirect related concepts which are involved in the process of conversion of raw material into finished goods. See, office people, the accountant who is managing the records of all the laborers who are working in the production department is indirectly involved in this process of conversion of raw material into finished goods. And the goods which are going to be sold in the market, for that require sales department. The goods which has to be sold in the market, we require distribution department. So these people they're not involved in the conversion of directly to the process of conversion, but they're involved in the process of marketing, selling those products in the market. So they're indirectly involved in this concept. Next we have here, by degree of traceability, we have direct cost, indirect cost. Means the cost which has been incurred directly in the process of production, the cost which has been incurred indirectly for the process of production, like purchase of raw material is direct cost for me. Cleaning of machineries with the waste, cotton waste, what we have here, the cotton waste is indirect cost for me here. So at each and every concept, we have divided in such a way that where you can understand. Next, association with the product, we have product cost, period cost. And in the changes in the activity or volume, we have fixed, variable, and semi-variable. And next, by the function, we have manufacturing, administration, selling, research and development, pre-production, planning. And with the accounting, capital cost, revenue cost, controllability, controllable, and non-controllable cost. In the analytical and decision making, opportunity, sunk cost, differential cost, joint cost, common cost, imputed cost, out of pocket cost, marginal cost, uniform cost, replacement cost. So if I want to take decisions based on this information only, I'll take decision whether I want to make the product or buy the product, or whether we should have the assembled concept here. Next, we have here on other concepts, we have conversion cost, traceable, normal, avoidable, unavoidable, and total cost. These are the things where we have division of cost here. So one by one, we'll go. First one, see here, classification on the basis of time, historical. Already I said that for you people, which has been incurred already, and now you're going to record. Such costs are available only when the production of a particular thing has already been done. The main objective is to verify with the actual operations. So this is very good to have in the business. But in certain cases, we may forget to write some of the cost which has been incurred. Only if we have the supporting document, those things will be recorded. Sometimes we may ignore, which has certain amounts what we have paid from our pocket and which is not recorded in the books of accounts. So in that case, the historical cost cannot be suggested for the decision making. Predetermined cost, under that we have estimated cost and standard cost. Already said that one. Setting up predetermined standards for each material, labor, and expenses. So we are going to fix certain standards. Based on that, after the actual performance, we are going to make the comparison. If we have the positive sign in there, so we feel that one we have controlled. If it is in the adverse concept, then we feel that one we have not controlled the cost here. There was unnecessary investment in the process of conversion. For that reason, we should avoid that one, and we have to check where the actual cost incurred high in the process of conversion. Next, we have here by nature of elements. Under that, we have material. The material is the main thing here which will be converted from raw material to finished goods. This material passes in the three different concepts: stock of raw material, stock of work in progress, and stock of finished goods. So in the each and every level process, we have to identify the cost incurred. And that is what we have in direct material. It refers that one where the actual material which are converted into finished goods, right? So now for this shirt, the actual direct material is the plain cloth here. What is the indirect material? The threads which has been stitched here, that is my indirect material, right? The needle which has been used to put the stitches and the button what we have here for stitching that button is indirect. So now, so which is my direct and indirect thing what we have here. Next, direct material includes all materials specifically purchased for process, components purchased or produced, primary packing materials, material passing from one process to another. All these are my direct materials. Already I said you people. Indirect material, I've given the example that one, like for example, for purpose auxiliary to production assigned to specify physical units is termed as indirect, like oil, grease, consumable stores, printing and stationery of materials. So based on the process of work, what we're doing, we have taken the indirect material. For this shirt, as said, the thread is the indirect material. Labor. Labor is nothing but the people who are involved in the process of conversion of raw material to finished goods in the flowed area, that is production area, where those are working with the machineries to get converted of raw material to finished goods, those people are called direct labor. The people who are not involved in the conversion of process of raw material to finished goods, but Certain people are there for whom the labor is paid, that is indirect labor. The people who clean the machineries, the people who maintain the machineries, for those people, whatever the wages has been paid, for them it is called indirect labor. See, labor employed for the purpose of carrying tasks in goods or services provided indirect labor. It cannot be practically traced in some of the cases. Wages of storekeeper, foreman, timekeepers, supervisors, and inspectors. So these are the indirect labor people, what we have here. Next, we have here expenses. The expenses which are incurred directly as well as indirectly. Like, these expenses are incurred on a specific cost per unit. Example, cost of special layout, design or drawing. Indirect expenses, rent, rates and taxes, insurance, power, lighting. So these are my indirect expenses. These are direct expenses and indirect. So based on each and everything, we have direct as well as indirect. So directly, which are involved in the process of conversion of raw material to finished goods, that is direct. And for that, whichever the supporting things are there, so that is indirect. Overheads. Overheads is nothing but expenditure. Overheads is nothing but the amount of expenses what it incurred in the production, administration, selling, and distribution. In cost concept, we are going to call it as overheads. Overheads is nothing but expenditure. So now, by degree of traceability, we have direct cost and indirect cost. So now, based on cost of wood for making furniture, it is also called traceable cost. Here, when the furnitures are made here, the cost of wood, whatever you have invested, that is my direct cost. For the same thing, salary for a factory manager, it is called a common cost, and they're common to several products. Means where you're going to pay the labor for one person to take care of all the things. So that is my indirect cost. Cost may be direct or indirect with respect of the process here. It is very necessary to know the purpose for which the cost has been incurred or ascertained at the time of making the payment for the process of conversion of raw material into finished goods. So you just check that one, why I'm paying this amount, for what purpose we are paying that one. So if you identify, that is called traceability. And at the time of payment, you will come to know, oh, for this process, we are paying the amount for certain people here. So take the signature when you're paying that amount. If there is no proper documentation for that one, if you have the authorized a slip over here, so then in the future, it supports you to fix the actual price for the product. Thank you to all second sem BCom students. In today's session, we have discussed about the scope of costing as well as classification of cost based on the different concepts it has been discussed here. In upcoming session, we are going to continue the classification of cost with support for you people for examination and even for your business field. Namaste and thank you to all second sem BCom students.